Welcome to another OU Insider YouTube Live brought to you by Olipop. My name is Brandon Drum. I'm here with Parker Thune, Spencer Forsythe's on the board, and we are here to talk Sooners football and recruiting. Parker, bring in the Olipop spiel.
Oh, well, sadly, I don't have a can of Olipop with which to advertise this week. But what I can tell you about Olipop is that OU Twitter has definitely developed an affinity for the beverage over the last couple of weeks, which I love to see because I love making the world a healthier place. And one of the easiest ways to make the world a healthier place and to make you a healthier person is to eliminate traditional soda from the picture, because all it is, folks, is highly acidic sugar water. Olipop is healthy soda. 9 grams of fiber in every can, natural sweeteners, no added sugars, and prebiotics to enhance digestive health. If you haven't tried Olipop, pick one up at your local Walmart, Target, Sprouts, or Whole Foods, or go to drinkolipop.com to learn more about the revolutionary product that is Olipop in each of its 14 flavors. And order online, use promo code CHAMPU20 to get 20% off your very first online order. That is all. We're pleased to partner with Olipop.
Yeah, absolutely. I know my family's drank quite a bit of Olipop out here as well. I think the root beer is their favorite.
Root beer goes hard.
Yeah, boys like the root beer. I guess let's start with Devon Mitchell. I know everybody wants to talk about Jaden Jackson and all that, but we're going to bury the lead a little bit. So sorry. We got to give due credit where credit's due. Obviously, this weekend, we talked about it on the podcast, but we haven't done the live yet. So this is the first time we've done the live where Devon Mitchell is an Oklahoma Sooner and he's reclassified to the 2024 class. What a pickup. It seems like that was kind of the piece of momentum that Oklahoma needed on the recruiting trail. And now you see some other things kind of burrowing under the ground, getting ready to sprout, if you will. And I mean, this, he could be the very beginning of one epic 45 days if things
45 days. Is that the boundary we're putting on it? 45 days?
No, well,
I guess that takes us through mid-August. So
no, 45 days would take us to almost the end of August.
July 8th that would take us to August 22nd.
Today's July 12th. Days.
I know, but Mitchell committed on July 8th.
Well, I know. I'm saying from like right now until.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't going July 8th, but I guess, 55 days, whatever.
Yeah, but there's obviously
semantics at that point.
Yeah, there's no denying that Mitchell's commitment was a jolt of energy for the Sooners on the recruiting trail. By the way, for those of you that have pointed out that it looks like I'm being held hostage tonight, I'm not at home, needless to say. I'm in the DFW Metroplex for Big 12 Media Days with our man, Jesse Crittenden. So that is why the background is different tonight. Or should I say that is why there is no background tonight. That is why I have AirPods instead of a microphone, because we're producing this show on the go for you. So as we sit here today, Oklahoma has 12 commits. Is it 12 or 13? I lose track. Regardless, they have double-digit commits in the 2024 class. Devon Mitchell is, of course, the Sooners' first and only commit for the moment at the tight end position. To say what you will about Ivan Carry-On, whether long-term he is a receiver or a tight end, as of right now, he is classified as a wide receiver, which means Mitchell is your lone tight end pledge in this cycle. And as we've discussed before, if Mitchell is the only tight end in the 2024 class for Oklahoma, that is something they are just fine with. And if you watch the tape, if you've seen this kid play, you understand why. It's because the second he steps on campus, he's going to be a contributor. This is a guy that is talented enough and athletic enough and sizable enough and developed enough to make an impact at the tight end position from the get-go. And the Sooners already have some pretty solid depth and talent at tight end right now when everybody is healthy. And everybody is not healthy right now. We know that. But when healthy, I think the trio of Caden Helms, Jason Llewellyn, and Cade McIntyre, between those three, there's a lot to like, but doesn't take a Rhodes Scholar to know that Devon Mitchell is just a little bit different, cut
Mm,
from a different cloth. And there's a reason he is regarded across the industry as a top 5 tight end in the 2024 class, even after reclassifying. He was the number 1 tight end in 2025. And now, as he is categorized alongside players that have an additional year of experience at the high school level, and in most cases are older than he is still top 5 nationally at the position. So this is a truly elite addition to Oklahoma's recruiting class and gives Michael Hawkins a very familiar and a very daunting target in the passing game.
yeah. No, he does. And he's he's kind of in the I would say Jermaine Gresham like as far as maybe a skill set. He can, be split out. He can do a lot of things in line as well because of his size and his strength. So that was something that Jermaine Gresham was known for. It's something he grew into, but it seems like Devon Mitchell is already at that point because if you remember correctly, you don't, but I do, and kind of showing our age here, or my age at least. Jermaine Gresham was more of a wide receiver coming out of high school. He weighed 220 pounds, but he never really was in line. That was developed his redshirt freshman year, and then next thing you know, he is what he is. So it's history repeats itself, in a lot of ways, even in college football. It takes time, but I think Devon Mitchell, outside of obviously Austin Stogner, Grant Calcaterra, Mark Andrews, those three have been really good tight ends in the last decade, or decent to really good tight ends for Oklahoma. Obviously, Calcaterra and Andrews are in the league, so they were really good. But after that, Braden Willis was a good tight end. Was a good tight end. He wasn't a game changer. Calcaterra could change the game if he needed to because of his speed. He wasn't the biggest, but he was a mismatch, obviously, with the linebackers, right? Mark Andrews was just a freak. That dude could do everything and still is doing everything. He's one of the top 3 tight ends in the league. So this might be one of the most talented tight ends to come through Oklahoma since Mark Andrews. I think I, I Stogner is a really good player. Let me preface that by saying I think he has a chance to be all Big 12. But when I talk about, I'm talking like speed. Stogner's got good speed. He's not a blazer. He's not going to win a race with a safety. You know what I mean? If they're running and he's getting chased, the chances are he's going to eventually get caught. And that's okay because that's who he is. So, and there's a lot of people that use that type of tight end in the league. But Devon Mitchell has a different gear. And that gear is going to be something different that Oklahoma really hasn't had or been able to use over the last few years since Calcaterra left. That's it. And look, Braden Willis was a great athlete. He just wasn't a blazer. He just wasn't. If he was a blazer, he would have been drafted a lot higher than what he was in the NFL draft. That's just facts.
Let's hit the super chat real quick. Who's Nico? Dropped $5. We appreciate that. And asks, wild question, but does OU give BV the same leash Georgia gave Kirby if things start off in a similar way they did with Kirby's first couple of years? I mean, that's a very big picture question, but my answer would be yes. I think anybody who's looking at the situation with Oklahoma football with a long-term perspective would say yes, because even if the Sooners fail to live up to expectations in 2023, here's what you don't want. What you don't want is in the midst of a move to the SEC, You don't want to be turning over a whole coaching staff. At that point, it is absolute chaos from an organizational standpoint because you'll have guys hitting the transfer portal, you'll be losing recruits, you'll obviously have to hire a whole new staff, bring in a whole new culture to implement, and you also have to worry about stepping foot for the first time into the toughest football conference in America. So there is literally nothing to gain and a whole lot to lose from moving on from Brent Venables prematurely. So, yes, Brent Venables is going to have quite a leash. And I also don't think there's any tangible reason to suspect that Oklahoma isn't going to be right back to winning a lot of football games in 2023. That is my expectation, especially when you look at that schedule. Oklahoma doesn't have to be a world beating football team in order to win 10 games in 2023. That's just reality. They don't have to be a college football playoff caliber program. They don't even necessarily have to have a college football playoff caliber offense or defense to be able to win 10 games with this schedule. So, yes, Venables has a leash and a reasonably extensive one at that.
Can you hear me, Parker?
Yes, we can hear you.
That's weird because people in the chat, some of them are saying they're having trouble hearing me.
Interesting.
Do I sound loud?
You sound okay from where I'm sitting. Chris threw in $5 and asks, what is happening with Danny Okoye and Michael Patterson McDonald? Well, we know with Patterson McDonald that he intends to commit on July 31st. OU looks like the move there. I'll defer to you on Okoye, Brandon, because you're obviously the one that has spent the most time around him.
So, are you talking about Okoye?
Danny Okoye.
Yeah, he's going to come in for the party in the palace.
There you go.
I mean, Oklahoma's doing all they can. In my opinion, this visit is very critical for Oklahoma moving forward because Texas and Tennessee have done a really good job recruiting him so far. And yeah, he's not going to make a decision until November. So I think the visit is critical to set up an official visit date. And then after that, I think that people are saying I'm hard to hear. Oh, they can't hear me when I'm not. Somebody said I sound low. That gum, man. I'm like, I've not touched my or adjusted my.
And we lost you.
Does that sound better?
Okay, that's fine. Good audio is
Okay.
better than no audio. So I would just say
Yeah, I
let's
don't.
roll with it. But back to your point on Okoye.
Yeah, people might. Hey, turn your speakers up. I don't know. Yeah. So, anyways, um, yeah, I think it's a critical piece as far as the visit goes for the party in the palace. And then I think Oklahoma need to start out hot. They have 3 easy wins to start the year. Of course, I think SMU is going to be able to put points up on the board, but I'm not. I don't think they're going to be able to stop Oklahoma, if that makes sense. And I think Oklahoma probably will be more formidable defensively to where they're going to be able to do the things they need to do to look a lot better. So they could essentially start out 4-0, potentially 5-0, and then after that, that's important to Okoye. That's why I'm bringing all that up. Very important because one of the things he said why he stopped talking to Oklahoma was because they were only 6-7. Like that is legitimately one of the reasons. So if Oklahoma doesn't come out and handle business during the 2023 season, he's not going to be in the 2024 class. Winning is very, very important to him. And he's a different, as Dean Blevins says, different breed of cat. So, so he is. He's different, man, in a good way.
All right. Next super chat question comes from Robin Morris, who asks, who do you think is the next 2025 commits? And there are actually several candidates that I think are very squarely in play for Oklahoma. And we'll have a Sooners Under the Stars visit list out in the next week and a half here as we get closer and closer to that visit date. But as of right now, man, I'd be willing to put decent money on Gus Cordova being your next 2025 commit. That's my thought right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you put a crystal ball in right after he got offered, so there you go. Uh, did you talk to the kid? Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
there you go. Yeah, I think he could be the next 2025 commit. I also believe that Isaiah Mosey, Kamari Moore, those are guys I would watch. And ironically, who are they teammates with?
You don't say.
No, but remember, there are some that believe it's a Georgia Missouri battle. Oklahoma is not in this. You know how many
Now, I will
text
say,
message I've gotten after over that in the last like 3 days?
I will say that particular individual is absolutely, objectively one of the industry's finest. And 99% of the time, his intel is spot on.
No doubt.
I have, this is what makes it all the more astonishing. I have no reason right now to believe that that particular intel has any validity to it. So, 99% of the time, I agree with that particular reporter. This falls in the 1%. And I think there are reasons for that. We could unpack those reasons, but that would take valuable time away from our viewers and members' valuable questions here, including a massive contribution from
Mhm.
Jason Patton, who threw in
Appreciate you.
a Benjamin, a whole $100 to say the momentum with recruiting from this staff is incredible. Love the stream and all you guys do to keep us informed. How many commits do you guys think pop for OU by August 15th? God bless. First off, love you too, Jason. Secondly, um, by August 15th, I would say Oklahoma has anywhere in the range of 10 to 12 new commits. That's a span of about 5 weeks, 5 weeks minus a day. I would say by August 15th, OU has double digit additional commits beyond what they have right now.
10 to 12 in
Yeah.
a month, in the next month. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
Let me
because I
unpack.
mean,
Let me unpack this for a second
yeah,
because maybe
let's
my
let's
math is
tally them up.
fuzzy. Okay. 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 Let's do this. I've been on OU insider saying Jaden Jackson. I think Oklahoma gets Jaden Jackson. Okay. I said that I was the OG of saying that the other day. So that's number one.
Jaden
Um,
Jackson, Zion Raggins next week, Taylor Tatum days later,
mhm,
Michael Patterson McDonald at the end of the month,
mhm, mhm,
Williams Nwaneri on August
mhm.
1st. Those are the 5 decisions that we know are taking place that we expect to go OU's way. I think you can also throw in a decision that should happen relatively soon. Certainly, I would say before
Oh,
August 15th
Boganowski,
from
Bricks. Okay. Yeah, there's seven.
Boganowski and Bricks are on the table. I really like where OU stands with Eugene B.J. Brooks, the 4-star offensive lineman out of
Yeah,
California.
that's eight. Yeah.
That's one that shouldn't take much longer. And so at that point, Brandon, I
Yeah,
mean, there's a
you got
variety of ways you
Stone
could get to.
potentially between there somewhere.
Yeah, there's a variety of ways you could get to
Yeah.
double digits. It could be the 2025 class. It could be a couple additional
Oh, okay.
2024s that show up to the
Oh,
party
okay.
at the Palace and want to pop. So,
I thought you were talking strictly 2024. I
mm,
might be on board with both classes combined. Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. I would say 7 to 10. That's what I would say. But 10 to 12, I mean, you living on the bright side, and I think people want to ride on your side more than mine. I promise you that. So there you go. But Jason? We do appreciate the $100 bills. And
very
speaking
much appreciate it.
and speaking of, well, okay, Seth Ammerman, appreciate the $2. Who's the first coach to take another job and win? I think this has to be Jeff Lebby. And I don't know if it happens after this season, but I think after the 2024 season, he heads off into the sunset and becomes a head coach at a P5 level
So
because I think that's what he's winning on.
if you're taking Jeff Lebby, can I take the field?
I mean, that's He said a coach, not coaches, a coach.
Yeah, I know. I know. But if you're taking Jeff Levy, can I take the field? Can I take everybody else?
No, pick one. I think
Dang it.
Brandon Hall is right up
Well, and the
there.
reason I say that is because like I don't know that there is any member of the Oklahoma staff that is very obviously next up for a big time head coaching job in the manner that Jeff Lebby is. But I also think there are numerous assistants on this staff that could be in line for a Power Five coordinator job by the end of the season.
No,
I would
that's correct.
certainly I would certainly throw Brandon Hall in there, especially given what he's accomplished on the recruiting trail as a guy that may have some substantial offers for his services elsewhere. Jay Valai falls into the same category. Joe John Finley would certainly be in the mix, and most have had him pegged for a couple of years now as a guy that's an offensive coordinator in waiting. And I think, obviously he's a guy that you would like to keep around, but Todd Bates, I think, is going to have heavy interest from other
Mm-hmm.
P5 programs who want him as potentially a co-coordinator or an outright defensive coordinator, especially given his propensity to recruit elite defensive linemen, which some have knocked him on in the past, but it doesn't seem like we're too far away, Brandon, from that narrative turning on its head.
So here's the thing. Um, I You brought up Todd Bates, and I think this
Yeah.
is interesting. He's already co-DC associate head coach, right? Like that's the title. If when Ted Roof decides he wants to go elsewhere, do you not name Brandon Hall the play caller and you name Valai passing game coordinator and they still keep their co-DCs, right? And you give the extra title to obviously Todd Bates as run game coordinator, then bring in a linebacker coach, which I think we all figure who the next linebacker coach is going to be at OU. So, I mean, Venables really doesn't, I don't think he's going to really care that the guy has zero coaching experience. I think he really, 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 really has his sights on, I call him Junior BV or Baby BV. So, um, yeah, I could see all that playing out because Brandon Hall essentially built that Troy defense to what it was over the last two seasons, and he didn't get to do the fruits of his labor, obviously. And now, he's at Oklahoma and he's helping build a really fantastic safety room, and he knows how to call plays. He knows how to call Brent Venables' defense because that's all he's done his whole career. So I do find that interesting. The thing is Venables is never going to give up. I don't think, much like Lincoln Riley, he's never going to give up the pulpit of the defensive coordinator, play caller. Just don't see it. But I think we need to talk a little Jaden Jackson.
Yeah, the folks are clamoring for it. The streets want to know what's up with Jaden Jackson. And we sit here less than 24 hours away from a decision for the number 191 player in the country, the number
Mm-hmm.
10 defensive tackle in the country, and an IMG Academy product, which Oklahoma has not landed a commitment from. I suppose a school which Oklahoma has not landed a commitment from since the 2018 recruiting class. No, we are not counting Phil Picciotti, and we are not counting Gavin Marshall. Gavin Marshall was not a scholarship player, and Phil Picciotti was not yet at IMG when he committed to Oklahoma. So those two aside, Oklahoma has not landed a commitment directly from IMG Academy in 6 cycles, Brandon. They are on the verge of doing that twice over in 2024 between Jaden Jackson and David Stone.
Yeah. So, well, they've landed some IMG commits over the years. Did you say they didn't? Is that what you were saying earlier?
Yeah, not since 2018.
Oh, you said since 20. Okay, so that's what I was going
Yeah.
back to. Okay, yeah. No, that is correct. I guess they had a tight end in 2020, but he was a walk-on tight end. What was his name? You remember?
It was yes. Hang on. He transferred to Western Kentucky. Dane Saltarelli,
Saltarelli, that's right.
but he was a walk-on.
Yeah. So yeah, no, that's correct. I think it would be really good. I think it's about time Oklahoma starts to get back into the IMG Academy ranks and start pillaging that school, or whatever you want to call it, the a prep school for all intents and purposes, because one, it's loaded. Two, it's an accumulation of guys from around the nation. Look, 95% of them end up going back where they came from to play college football. That's just the reality of it. Look, I mean, how many guys from the state of Texas at IMG end up back in the state of Texas? Quite a bit, right?
Well, yeah, you can look at Jordan Johnson Rubell as a recent
Yeah,
example.
well, that's a prime example. Yeah. So I mean, it is what it is. A lot of the guys from the Northeast end up at Penn State, or Ohio State or whatever. So they go back to their region. And so this is a big deal. The funny thing is Jaden Jackson's from Ohio State's region, literally 3 hours from Columbus, Ohio. He's from Indiana, in the Indianapolis area. So the fact that Oklahoma is going head to head with Miami, Florida, Texas, and Ohio State, and they could come out on top tomorrow, is huge. Huge, huge. And it's something Oklahoma fans have been salivating for. Obviously, they got that with Derek LeBlanc. LeBlanc is gone, so that doesn't mean much. Shout out to Ricardo, because I know you still watch. But outside of LeBlanc, they haven't won a lot of those big battles. Interior, the outside RMT, PJ Atabare, like there's been an assortment of players that obviously the defensive end has been building up some really good talent. And I'm not here to say that the interior hasn't, because let me make this clear to everybody. You have Dejon Terry, who was from Tennessee, started at Tennessee. Dejon Terry on the interior, Grayson Haltom. You have Kelvin Gilliam, who was a top 250 guy, right? You have who else am I missing here that is on the interior that I'm not thinking of right now?
Isaiah Coe.
Yeah, but I don't throw him in the same, coming recruiting wise. I don't, not in the same world as him. So you got Haltom. You obviously got Dejon Terry. Devon Sears was one of the top transfer defensive tackles.
Kelvin
Jonah
Gilliam, top
Kelvin
100
Gilliam.
player.
Yep, Kelvin Gilliam, top 100 player. You have obviously Jonah Laulu was wanted by Georgia and everybody else when he was transferring from Hawaii. Like, he was a big name in the transfer ranks. So they've done a good job building up the interior through the transfer ranks. And then obviously Gilliam was already in here, and they brought in Grayson Halton by getting him from Oregon, I believe it was. So they just need to land more on the interior. And I think this is a good start for them. I think last year, and I told you this. Remember, I told you this when I talked to a source at Oklahoma. They didn't think the interior defensive line was going to be very deep in 2023. They're like, it's good, it's not great. They said 2024. This is what Oklahoma's been looking forward to for literally the past two cycles, is the 2024 class, because of how good the defensive line group is in that class. And they have said from that point on, that this class was the most important class for them moving forward as a program. And you're seeing how they're NILing it. You're seeing how they're doing a lot of things differently than they have in previous cycles because of that fact. It's almost as if Oklahoma went, we're going to save up and we're just going to go all in on 2024. Does it not look that way, Parker?
It definitely feels that way.
Yeah.
It definitely feels that way.
And remember, I told you that last year when I got told that by said person, and now it's playing out. That's the funny thing about it. Like that was legitimately their plan all along. Try to go get David Hicks, get Derek LeBlanc. That's who they really wanted, and get Caden McDonald. They missed on two of their top three. That was super unfortunate. But at the same time, if you're going to hit number one with Jaden Jackson, and then you follow that up with David Stone and Williams Nwaneri and Nigel Smith and Wyatt Gilmore, who I think will end up moving into the top 300, 250 by the end of the cycle. And then potentially, look, I think Oklahoma's in a better spot for Zena Emozalu than even I give them credit for earlier. The longer this thing drags out, the more it seems like Oklahoma is in play. Like definitely in play. It's not just a given. He goes to Texas, and you got a Koye who's sitting there. I mean, like this is a different level, Parker. A different level than what we've seen Oklahoma. The level that could have been 2022 had Riley not left, right? But he left. This is it. This is the first time in literally 3 cycles.
And just think about this. The prospects right now are strong enough across this defensive line and particularly at defensive end. And the Sooner staff is confident enough in the targets at the top of their board that they had Jayshon Ross in the palm of their hand and they said thanks, but no thanks. That's how much confidence there is in their ability to land Nwaneri, add him to Wyatt Gilmore, pick up Nigel Smith, and then close things out with, I mean, shoot, take your pick, Danny Okoye, Zena Emozalu, one of those two. Then you tack on an interior class that potentially features David Stone, Jaden Jackson, and I know this is the big fish, maybe a little too big to feel all that great about, but if you land Dominic McKinley, man, that's, I think, without question, the best defensive line class in the history of this program. 3 5-star defensive linemen. When was the last time OU? Like, when was the last time OU landed a 5-star defensive, like a true defensive lineman? Because yeah, sure, PJ is an edge player, but yeah, I guess Jalen Redmond.
But he was in state.
Yeah, and even so, he wasn't.
I think what makes Stone and Nwaneri feel more of a win, if that's truly what happens for Oklahoma. You know, I always have to preface that because recruiting can be a bitch. Sorry, I just can't.
Put that on a Hobby Lobby sign.
So, but yeah, no, like I always preface that just because of that fact. But the reality is that because had David Stone stayed at Del City, it would have been really important and it would have been a big deal that they got him. But the fact that he left, stayed gone for 2 years, and the fact that they have a really good chance to bring him in still is what makes it that much more impressive. And then Nwaneri being from Kansas City, obviously you had PJ Adebawore being from Kansas City. That's what, and shoot, man, if they pull Dominic McKinley out of the front doorstep of LSU, that will be the win of all wins, bar none. And they actually have a legitimate shot to do that. That's the weird part. Isn't it funny how now that Oklahoma has a chance to surprise everybody with Jaden Jackson, and it's not a done deal by any means or stretch of the imagination, it's just moving in a really good direction for Oklahoma right now. If it continues to do that, let's say the announcement, let's hypothetically say he commits to Oklahoma for kicks and giggles. The fact that we're even talking about this, just the mannerism of the Oklahoma fans, it's just like their chest is out and they're like, yeah, this is what that's the baits we knew we had. You know, all the guys that have been hating on him, that's what we brought him in here for.
Yeah, and I want to take this opportunity to encourage everyone that was melting down about the recruiting class last month, saying it's not the same as it was a year ago. Please remember this a year from now. when you're tempted to melt down about the recruiting class again next June, please, hopefully it can be a case of fool me twice or fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, but you're not going to fool me 3 times. I don't get fooled a third time by recruiting optics in June, please, because what's happening here in July is the exact same thing that happened last July, which is why we continually last month, Brandon, professed to so many of these recruiting doomers that the things they were saying were fundamentally irrational. Because what we're seeing right now is we are seeing the culmination and the fruit of Oklahoma's recruiting philosophy executed properly in the months of June and July. And all of a sudden, the Sooners have gone from, well, yes. But so, all of a sudden, the Sooners have gone from outside the top 50 to start the month of June to knocking on the door of the top 10 as of right now.
Yeah.
And they're going to be even closer to the top 10. Potentially. They could potentially be even closer to the top 10 by this time tomorrow.
So have you done the calculation to see where they would be, just by curiosity? If they did do, let's say they land Jaden Jackson, where would they be? I haven't even looked.
I haven't looked either. I mean, we'll know after the fact one way or another. But we got another super chat question from Zach who wants to know, let's talk NIL. If the tier 1 schools are Oregon, A&M, Miami, and Tennessee, and the tier 2 schools are Texas, USC, and Louisville, as of today, where does Oklahoma fall?
Okay, repeat that.
So tier 1 teams as far as NIL are Oregon, A&M, Miami, and Tennessee. So says Zach. Tier 2 is Texas, USC, and Louisville. Where does Oklahoma fall? And I've said it before. I think Oklahoma is squarely in that third tier and knocking on the door of that second. I think it just comes down to willingness, to be honest with you. It comes down to willingness to spend. And naturally, with Oklahoma trending very nicely for Nwaneri and a guy in Jaden Jackson that they were not favored for 24, 36 hours ago. I think what you're seeing is in the 2024 cycle, Oklahoma has been a little bit more willing to open up the purse strings. And Brent Venables and his staff, they're never going to participate in these recruitments that are outright bidding wars, right? That's just not going to happen. You're not, if it's all about the money, if it's a Nico Imaliava recruitment where, he's going wherever the biggest bag is, then that's not the type of game that Oklahoma is going to play. But I'm sure this doesn't come as news to anyone that follows recruiting, but even if the relationships are the strongest in a place like Oklahoma, you're not going to get a David Stone or a Williams Nwaneri or a Dominic McKinley to commit to your school for $0, right? There's going to have to be some financial backing involved. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be the best offer. Doesn't necessarily have to be the one that blows all the others away, because that's where you can lean on relationships a little bit and maybe you get a little discount. But there has to be a competitive NIL offer on the table if you want to be able to land elite prospects, because there will be schools and there are schools that are willing to shell out tons of money to a player of that caliber. Yeah. And so if you want to be able to make your relationships stand up and you want to be able to have a viable shot in a recruitment like that, again, you don't necessarily got to spend out the wazoo. You can lean on the other factors that you have working in your favor, but you're going to have to pay up.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I would agree. I think that anytime you got a 5-star, 4-star, 3-star interior defensive lineman, I think even like high 3-star, I think there's always going to be a little bit of gamesmanship on the NIL front that you're going to have to do, just because interior defensive linemen are so coveted. If you're one of the top, if you're ranked in the top 600 and you're an interior defensive lineman, chances are you've got several P5 offers, because they're hard to come by. And it's weird. I've seen some really weird ranked interior defensive linemen make some crazy money that you wouldn't expect. And one of them was a higher 3-star, and you're just like, what in the heck? And this is just rumors, obviously, but like how you when you start getting two programs that really want you and they covet, they think much highly of you than your obviously ranking on Rivals or 24/7 or on 3. That's where the fun begins. When you pit two programs up against each other, that's where the NIL begins, and you start to see some stupid amount of money thrown. For players that Parker, you and I, we've seen it multiple times. We're like, how in the heck did that guy get what we're being told he got? It doesn't make sense. And that's where I hope at some point down the line, there is some renovation done to the NIL front. Maybe caps on how much you can pay, just kind of even things out to where relationships really do start to matter again more than they do now. They get you at the table. And I was told that. I put up on OU Insider today. Source said, he goes, the relationships that Oklahoma builds gets them to the table. That's it. They get you to the table. Now you got to close out with NIL and what you can do for them off the field or development wise. That's it. There's so many other factors other than relationships. It used to be best relationship, think I can be developed, I'm going to go play there. That's not it anymore. And to get back to that, I think there needs to be a cap on all of it. Do you not agree, Parker, to where things are equal? Because right now it's just a free-for-all. It's the Oklahoma, and don't get me wrong, I think Oklahoma fans, with what's going on in the 24 class and last year the 23 class, I think Oklahoma fans are going, screw that, man. We're going to have
This
the top
is
4 class all the time.
so. This
So
is actually
NIL.
something that Mike Gundy was asked about today at Big 12 Media Days. He was asked, do you think NIL needs a salary cap? Do you think that would help regulate some of this? And he said, I thought it was a great answer. Mike Gundy's usually spot on. He's controversial, but he's pretty typically spot on. He said, yes, it would help regulate things. But at that point, you are no longer dealing with amateurism.
Yeah, your employees at that
Yeah.
point.
And he said that hurts the student athletes. So it's a two-sided coin. Well, in his mind. So it's a two-sided coin where
they're now employees. They get pension. They get all kind. If I'm a student athlete and I'm banging my body around, hell yes, give me those things. Why not? We're doing it. They're getting paid anyways. What does it matter? They're essentially employees anyways. Oklahoma players make 60,000 across the board. That is the definition of a salary, Parker. The definition of a salary. They're employees. The better ones make more money. It's like if you're a better employee, you make more money. Definition of an employee. Is it not?
No, it is.
But it's a third-party employee.
Yeah, and look, I don't necessarily agree with Mike Gundy. I'm not saying I did, but what he said was, I think that hurts the student athletes if we completely eliminate amateurism from the table. But from where I stand, Brandon, with the NIL conversation, you've already, even if you haven't explicitly eliminated amateurism, you have created all the necessary stepping stones for amateurism to be ultimately eliminated, whether explicitly or via a series of loopholes.
Yeah.
We're headed down that path. We're on, we've got a one-way ticket down that path. At this point, you can't reverse course. You can't. And that's on the NCAA. The NCAA screwed this thing up from the get-go.
Big Red Sports and
And
Imports
there's,
was ahead of the game before they were far ahead of the game.
man, you can't help but feel for Rhett Bomar, can't you? He was a visionary before his time.
What could have been? What could have been? All right. Well, you're at Big 12 Media Day, so let's dive into that a little bit. Look, before we dive into that real quickly, just make sure that you're subscribed to this channel, the YouTube channel right here. We're almost to 10,000. Would be really cool if you guys could get us there. Much appreciated. Thank you guys so much. And whatever you're listening to, because there are going to be some that are going to be listening to this on the podcast form, whatever you're listening to, please go give us 5 stars. Please go make sure that we are, rated as high as you possibly can. Make sure, because that helps us know what you like and what you dislike as far as podcasts go. And lastly, if you're not a member of OU Insider, right now is the perfect time to do that. OUinsider.com. Go there, $9.95 a month right now. Look, it's football season's around the corner, and commit season is just getting started for Oklahoma, and we're going to have you covered from top to bottom, the best that we possibly can. We were out in front of this Jaden Jackson thing before everybody else, and we'll try to be out in front of everything else as well as best we can. So please go join, $9.95 a month or $99.95 for a whole year. It'll get you through. If you do the whole year, it'll get you almost all the way to fall camp next year if you sign up right now. That's a deal. I mean, that's obviously not any percent off or anything like that, but you're going to get all the commits. You're going to get the football season. You're going to get fall camp. You're going to get both national signing days. You're going to get all the transfers. You're going to get the bowl game. You're going to get all the junior days. You're going to get the spring. You're going to get all the official visits leading up to the 2025 class all the way through this portion of July. All right. So let's talk about it. Big 12 Media Day. Oh, real quickly, just act surprised if Jaden Jackson happens, because this was unexpected. And if it doesn't happen, OU fans, don't freak out. Again, this was unexpected. This is literally a cherry on the top of what you guys have been wanting already. I know that everybody's hyped. Do you not agree, Parker? This is more of an unexpected cherry on top deal.
This was not happening 36 hours ago. So, yes,
Correct.
I would say this is a pleasant surprise if it happens.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways, you're out at Big 12 Media Days. What time does Oklahoma, for those that don't know, what time do they start tomorrow?
So, Brent Venables speaks at 11:50 tomorrow. And then in the afternoon, we'll have breakout sessions with the players. We'll get to talk to Brent himself. He'll make the rounds on Radio Row, and Oklahoma is the last team to participate tomorrow. So,
Save the
whether
best
you view
last.
exactly view that as a good thing or a bad thing, I tend to view it as a good thing. So Brent Venables will take the podium at 11:50 to meet with the media. The players will get looped in shortly thereafter. And look, I'll be honest, I don't think there are a ton of super compelling storylines right now in July surrounding this football team. They're coming off a 6-7 year. Everybody kind of has the expectation that they're going to rebound and they're going to be back in double-digit win territory, but also that the expectation is different than it has been in years past, where nobody's really talking about the college football playoff, at least not seriously. So you're dealing with a football team that, in the grand scheme, is a middle-of-the-road team with modest expectations. And if they exceed them, everybody's impressed. And if they somehow can't manage to meet those expectations, especially given this schedule, well, then you got issues. You got deeper issues. And so it's almost like, and I hate to draw a parallel to a program that Oklahoma fans aren't going to like to be compared to, but it's almost like it almost
Nebraska.
feels like, well, no, not absolutely not Nebraska, but it feels like strictly as far as media day. Like, do not take this comparison for anything more than just media day narratives. But like, in terms of media day narratives, Oklahoma in 2023 is basically what Oklahoma State has been in years past, which is to say, people expect you to win football games. They figure you're not going to suck. They don't really have the expectation that you're going to go to the college football playoff, but they figure you'll be an upper echelon team in the conference and right there in the mix for conference championship berth, 2/3 of the way through the season.
Yeah. Well, first off, I hope Brent Venables doesn't do any gift worthy motions like last year. I think that's number one. No, no sucking from fire hydrants, please, or fire hoses. Um, so I think number two. First off, did you think that the guys that he's bringing was kind of different?
No, I mean Laulu was kind of a surprise
That
addition.
was a definite. That's kind of where I was getting at. I thought it would have been, and I was expecting Danny Stutzman, and everything's great. Everything's great. It's been fun. It's been good. We're working hard. The
That's what you'll get from Danny.
yeah, the eternal optimism. That's why I love Danny. Um, eternal optimist. Excuse me. No, I think Laulu is going to be good because he's usually pretty good when you get him in front of a mic, anyways. So it just surprised me. Uh, Obviously Dylan Gabriel is pretty good. I would love to have. I wanted. You could always guarantee with Lincoln's group that they wouldn't mean to, but a Kenneth Murray or a Baker or even a Kyler. Um, Honestly, I was hoping Austin Stogner got invited because you would get a sound bite. Stogner's got that swag, that cocky swag to him, and he doesn't like to lose, so he'll take everything personal. That's just who he is, and that's kind of like what Kenneth Murray would do, right? He took things personal, and he always had some sort of joust every time he went with a media member, and they were always gold. The one I remember, I have it on my phone, where he talked about Texas and the reason why he chose Oklahoma. That is one of the best sound clips of all time. Because straight face Kenneth Murray, like, I'm going to kill you, Kenneth Murray. Look, yes, that's why I chose Oklahoma because I wanted to win. It's that simple. Yes. I mean, those are the type of sound bites you want at these events. I don't know that Dylan's going to give you that. I don't think so. He has that swag, but he's just such a nice guy. Like, there's not a lot of combativeness in him. You know what I mean? Drake Stoops is probably the most combative person they brought. And that's probably what Brent wanted, to be honest. Who would you think would be the best person? If you were to bring, so if you were to bring your three best sound bites from Oklahoma, who would it be? I think Andrew Rame has to be in there. Talk about swag and not giving a crap.
Oh man, top three. Um,
Key Lawrence.
are we talking just about like? Are we talking like
Just somebody that
good
you know would be a good soundbite and might say something controversial.
Kobe McKenzie?
You think he's such a good kid, though? Yeah, I could see that
I know,
actually.
but he's also
He's
got that. He's
smart.
also got
He's
that streak
smart.
in him.
Yeah, he's smart. Super smart. Yeah.
Give me Kobe McKenzie.
Give me Yeah, Austin Stogner
Mm,
would do it.
Austin Stogner certainly would. And then, shoot, I don't know. Maybe maybe RJ Robert Spears Jennings.
Oh, he would, but I don't think they would. So somebody
you
that
know,
would
you know what I
like
want
those.
tomorrow. You know what I'm very much looking forward to.
What's that?
Brent Venables sitting down across from Cale Gundy on Radio Row.
No, that's the thing.
Cale's here.
No,
Mm-hmm. Very interested to see whether that
man.
actually
Now I wish
happens.
I would have went. Ooh, So is he's with the animal, right? At this point
Yes.
with Mark?
Hmm.
Do you think they'll allow that to happen?
I don't know.
I bet you they make Kel go and right. You would think, right? Because there's, from what I know, I know it's been 2 years, but
No, it hasn't. It's been
oh, it's
11
been only a
months.
year. Not even. Oh my god, it feels like it's been 2 years, dude. Wow.
Because we've been through a lot since then.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wow, that's interesting. That's
Oh
interesting.
man.
Wow, you brought that up. Okay, so Austin Stogner, and you said Kobe McKenzie.
Yeah.
I think Jackson and Peyton Bowen are going to be epic when they get their chance.
No, Peyton's too much of a media pro because he did so many interviews during the wildest recruitment any of us can recall
Yeah, but so
that
was
like he
K9.
just
The K9 just didn't give a crap.
no, he didn't. Which was what made him such a good player. Like he never gave a crap except in the
They
weight
need
room.
one of those guys again. They need that type of swag. And I keep saying swag. People are like, does Drum know swag? Probably not. But yeah, dude, I don't know, man. Like, and by the way, people, I don't know if the Gunny situation would be controversial or not, them sitting across each other. I just know that when it all went down, there's everybody knows that Gundy wasn't happy about it. Like that's not even a secret, right? Like that's not a
Mm-hmm.
secret. No, and he shouldn't have been. No offense, like he's one of the greatest Oklahoma players of all time and one of the greatest assistant coaches of all time. That sucked. So for me, I don't. That's my opinion. What do you think, Parker? Like, do you agree with my sentiments on that? Like to be just when you, of course, what happened, and that was not right, right. But for it to end that quickly, you know what I mean? That's where I'm coming from.
No, I get you.
His legacy, man, like that just it sucked for him. And I've always Kel and I have been friends, so like I like Kel. So it's gonna be interesting. Do you really think they'll let him sit across though? I'm still fixated on that.
I don't know. I'm very intrigued by the possibilities here.
God. So no, I think somebody said I thought they were cool. Yeah, I think everybody's cool now. I do. I just think that it's just I think it's the dynamics of it, Parker, right? More than anything.
Yeah. I mean it's just
Because people are
it's
asking questions in the chat. And you're damn
oh
right I'm
boy.
swag. Jaden Boyd.
Uh-huh. Well, let's
All right, so
I,
go ahead.
I I feel the need we need to come back around because a lot of people have asked about the Grant Bricks recruitment and we
Go ahead.
haven't touched on that one yet.
Yeah.
It's I mean, look, it's OU, Nebraska, Kansas State. I feel like most know and understand that at this point in time. It's probably gonna feel like this one's dragging out. That the kid is the polar opposite of dramatic. Like to be honest, I'm not even sure he will announce it when he commits. Like I'm not sure he will put out an edit. I'm not sure he will do anything extraordinarily ceremonious. He's a very like the social media world is not one that he spends a whole lot of time. I mean, if you look at his Twitter, he's tweeted like twice in the last 4 months. So not a guy that's too concerned with his perception and persona in the public eye. Uh, and he's legitimately torn between these three schools, man. I mean, they all
Mhm.
offer him something different. And I I I can just as easily see a decision happening pretty quickly as I could see a decision waiting until September, October. And I know that maybe that sounds like hedging, but I'm telling you, like I talk to that kid pretty frequently. He doesn't know right now. He doesn't know where he's going to end up. He doesn't know when he's going to know where he ends up. He's he very much sees the appeal of playing at all three schools, and he's not. going to rush this decision. He's going to have all the conversations he feels like he needs to have. He's going to think on it for as long as he feels like he needs to think on it. And at the end of it all, whenever he's confident in a decision, that's when it's going to happen. And if he doesn't know when that is, nobody else can really know when that is. So it's very much a holding pattern and a waiting game right now, as far as Bricks is concerned. Bill Bedenbaugh and the Oklahoma staff are pushing that thing hard. They want Grant Bricks. The commits want Grant Bricks. Everybody in Oklahoma's corner wants Grant Bricks. But if you want that kid, you're going to have to be willing to not rush the process and just let the kid come around to the realization in the end that Oklahoma offers him a better opportunity than Nebraska and Kansas State. And who knows? Maybe in the end, he wants to stay close to home. Maybe he wants to play in Nebraska. Maybe he wants to be right down the road from his family. Maybe he wants to go to Kansas State. Honor the school that gave him his first offer. Go where his girlfriend is. But in the conversations I've had with him, he definitely understands that Oklahoma is the best option for him from a football standpoint. It's just there's a lot more to it for a kid like that than just football, because he's never been one that has hitched his entire life and his fortunes on football. He didn't start playing football until 8th grade. So there's a lot more to the picture than just ball for Grant Bricks. All that to say, it might be a little while.
Really? What do you mean by a little while? Like, if you were to guess, yeah, because like the, like, do you mean like a couple weeks, a month, 2 months? Like, what's your gauge on that?
I'd be pleasantly surprised if we got a decision this month. I think it probably waits till August.
Okay. Early August, mid August. What are you feeling here? I know I'm digging here, but
yeah, I don't
what's your
know.
gut?
I mean, it's pure speculation. It's sheer guesswork. I would, if I had to guess, and I want to emphasize this is only a guess, I would say early to mid August.
So EBO said, "Can we give Bricks a price steer for his NIL price?"
That might move the needle. That might actually be the ace in the hole there.
Fair enough. Okay, so right now, what we know going into this week, you have the potential of Jaden Jackson on the 13th. Obviously, Casey Poe announced that he was going to Alabama today. We knew that was taking place. Next week, you could have Tupop, and we've been sitting on. Look, I'll say it because apparently everybody knows about it at this point. I was sent that it's out, something we have been talking about for literally the past 2 weeks. You and I have talked about it off the record. When I was told about it by a source, Taylor Tatum's sister is enrolled at Oklahoma. So what that means, don't know. I don't know if it means anything, to be honest. She could be enrolled at USC too, but we won't know that because that's a private school, right? So, but I guess what you can gather from that is that it's not a bad thing, right? That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. So it was something that I was told a couple of weeks ago. I sent the screenshot to Parker after I went and looked it up. And then we just kind of set on it because the kid got kind of finicky the last time stuff started leaking out, but apparently it's on Twitter or whatever. People are DMing me saying it's out and about. So there you go. That's what I was saying. There's other factors that are helping Oklahoma, in my opinion. And that was it. So you have Taylor Tatum. Obviously, Zion Raggins is somebody you talk to quite a bit more than
Yeah,
me. So, um, is there any chance he doesn't choose Oklahoma in your opinion?
not much of one.
Hmm.
Nary a doubt there.
Interesting. And then after that, the only thing left scheduled is obviously Michael Patterson McDonald and this guy named Williams Winery. I'm not sure if he's very good, but um,
Yeah, it's a big
those two
decision. It's a
big
big
decisions.
decision.
Still like Oklahoma?
I do.
Me too. And for those that don't know, Oklahoma people that we talk with seem to feel pretty good about it too. So there's that. But can't discount Missouri. I was literally told by a really good source the other day that Missouri has done a fantastic job recruiting Williams Winery, recruiting his father, really laying things out so that they understand where Missouri is coming from. I think the issue Missouri has is that Drinkwitz is what, in year 4 or 5 now?
Yeah.
And so he's on hot water. And I think this is something to think about. If you're Williams Winery, and I think that this is part of the equation, and tell me if I'm wrong here, Parker. Do you want to play at a school where going 6 and 7 puts you in that hot kitchen, the hot seat, right? Or going 6 and 7 multiple years gives you a couple of years more? Do you want which program do you want to be a part of?
Yeah. I mean, I just look at the end of the day, there's a lot more security right now at Oklahoma than there is in Missouri. And I
Right.
understand, and I imagine that if push comes to shove and Oklahoma needs to make that apparent and drive that home with Nwaneri and his family, they will do that because the Missouri staff is one below average season away from getting kicked to the curb. That's just the harsh reality right now. They
Hmm.
need to win. They need to win in the worst way. And it's going to be a tough deal with that schedule.
If Drinkwitz gets fired, does Luther Burden go to the portal? And if he does go to the portal, does this become another Oklahoma Georgia battle to get him?
Oh boy, I don't even want to think about that.
Like that's a hypothetical that makes you want to pull your hair out.
No part of me wants to relive that recruitment ever
Me
again.
either. Me
Yeah.
either. All right, man. Well, there you go. That's going to do it for this version of the OU Insider. YouTube Live brought to you by Olipop. If you're not drinking Olipop, it's your healthy soda. It's the healthy choice.
Yeah, if you're not drinking Olipop, you're doing it wrong.
There you go.
Healthy soda? Come on now, people. That's revolutionary. And we're not talking about sparkling water here. We're not talking about we're not talking about that particular beverage that tastes like you're drinking TV static. No. We're talking about a 14 flavor offering. Every one of those 14 flavors tastes like actual soda, has all the same features as actual soda, that sweetness, that fizz, the softness. And it comes without any of the sugar, without any of the citric acid, without any of the things that make soda highly detrimental to your health. In fact, on the contrary, it comes with 9 grams of fiber, prebiotics to enhance digestive health, and natural sweeteners and flavors. What are you laughing at?
Somebody said smile if you think if smile if David Stone's is silent to you, so I went just laughing.
Oh boy.
But anyways,
Well,
also I
yes,
was
drink
laughing because
Olipop.
Olipop makes you poop. Because every time you say that, that's all I think of.
I mean, if that's another benefit in your mind to drink an Olipop, yeah, by all means. But drinkolipop.com is where you're going to want to head to find out more about the drink that is revolutionizing the soda industry. You can also order online at drinkolipop.com and use promo code CHAMPU20 to get 20% off, or just pick up Olipop at Walmart, at Target, at Sprouts, or at Whole Foods near you. That is all.
All right. Well, if you're not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. Give us a like on whatever platform you podcast on. Because if you're listening to this podcast, if it's on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Audible, whatever, Please give us 5 stars. Please give us as good a review as you can. It helps us know what you like and what you dislike. Also, if you're not subscribed to ouinsider.com, we have a lot coming for you guys. There's definitely commit season is in starting to really, really heat up. And also fall season's around the corner. Plus Big 12 Media Day. You can sign up right now, $9.95 a month, and go month to month, or which is literally a coffee these days at Starbucks, or at least 2 coffees. So hey, that's all you is you're giving up 2 coffees, 2 to-go cup coffees. That's what you're giving up. Or you can go ahead and sign up, and you can even gift to the OU fan of your liking. If there's a big OU fan in your life and you want to gift them a year's worth of OU Insider so that they too can be in the know and be the water cooler genius when it comes to all things Oklahoma football, OU Insider is your choice. We were going to be on top of all the recruiting. We're going to be on top of all the team stuff. Fall camp's rolling around. Like I said, Big 12 Media Day. Parker, Jesse, myself will be covering Big 12 Media Day tomorrow. Lots of stuff going on at OU Insider, plus lots of commits down the line. Oklahoma could have quite the epic next 45, 50 days, 55 days on the recruiting trail, and we're going to have you covered head to toe. So make sure you're on ouinsider.com VIP. All right. For Parker Thune, for Spencer Forsythe on the board, my name is Brandon Drum. That's going to do it for this version of the OU Insider YouTube Live, brought to you by Olipop. You guys have a blessed night.